Welcome to another episode of the NLW podcast, number 4 now. So I've been pretty good going with this podcast and not giving it up too soon. But regardless of that, today, some big news broke last week just after I filmed the podcast where Cody Rhodes has left AEW and is rumoured to be heading to WWE. I'll be talking about that. I'll also be talking about Elimination Chamber and my thoughts heading in to WrestleMania. I'm also going to give you some NLW updates and let you know what I don't know why I went all Devon there. Let you know what I'm going to be doing and working on in the coming weeks and what's coming out over the next couple of weeks on the NLW channel. But we'll just start with what I'm working on. So what I'm working on at the moment is NLW 102. So that is going to be coming out, I believe it will be in about 3 weeks' time. So not this Saturday, not the Saturday after that. Whenever the date for that is, I'm not sure. I think it might be the 12th or something. So on that show, there's going to be a casket match between The Undertaker and Kane, and also a big 6-man X Division match and a couple of other interesting segments there. Also, I'm working on Fight Club, which it's a show which you will see if you watch NLW 24/7 tomorrow. You'll see all the announcements for that, but that's a NLW 24/7 show that will be coming out in 2 weeks, and it's an event by someone who is a patron, Cringe God. They won the NLW 24/7 Supercard contest, which was to come up with a 24/7 show to book and make, and they won by a popular fan vote. So now their show is going to get made, and I'm filming it at the moment, and I've got to say, it's one of the most fun things I've had filming in quite a while because of the unique nature of it and the spots that they've come up with and the ways that I've been able to bring that vision to life, I guess, has been really, really enjoyable. So I can't wait for you guys to see it. Hopefully I'll get it up on the Patreon early, but I'm not going to make any promises there. I'm also working on making NLW... I've got kind of a plan in the works to make like a Ruthless Aggression series. It all depends on whether I can get these figures in, but I'm planning on making a show called perhaps NLW Ruthless, where it's kind of like a throwback, where I use like Jack's figures, kind of similar to the Spam Wrestling series, but obviously both of us are quite busy at the moment, so we're not really able to continue on with that for now, at least. So I thought I might bring a new series, maybe even to the main channel, called NLW Ruthless. As for Raw and SmackDown Rebooked as well, I've been writing updates to the scripts for those. So I've already filmed a couple of matches before my hard drive broke, and they're just kind of sitting on my computer at the moment. But because of all the releases and all the injuries and stuff in real life, I've had to do a couple of rewrites, and also just to make it a bit more manageable, I've cut down the segments on each show. So I think that'll be more palatable for you guys, and I'll probably put that on this channel, the NLW Figs channel, just so it kind of releases the pressure a little bit of putting up too much content on the main and maybe not focusing as much on this one, which I want to change, as you can see, because I've already brought out a couple of videos. And in fact, speaking of what's coming out this week, I'm also working on a video requested by GSD Wrestling, who asked me to make a video on how to commentate a pick fed, which I thought was a really neat idea, and I think it could help a lot of people. So that will be coming out around Thursday, I think. So look out for that when it comes out. As for what other stuff I'm working on, just a bunch of different kinds of videos, really, like the Austin versus Triple H video, where they had a debate with Eric Bischoff. That is on the channel now, if you're watching it. It'll be on the channel now. So you can go and watch that. I had a lot of fun kind of doing the script for that video and trying to relay the information of the NLW versus Metal feud, and of course NLW 24/7 back with a bang this Wednesday night with some big matches and big announcements coming soon. So do go and check those out. I put a lot of time and work into those, so I'd appreciate you guys taking the time to watch them. As for other stuff, well, I'm also working on a couple of house shows, a couple of Road 2s, and just writing stuff when I'm heading into my big WrestleMania pay-per-view, just kind of writing match layouts and scripts and all sorts of jazz for that. But again, like the WrestleMania card for me now at the moment is set in stone. So some really big matches on there. I'm really looking forward to getting to filming them and also filming the build up to those matches. I'm also actually buying some figures in preparation for the WrestleMania build. So yeah, there's going to be some big moments and big matches and reveals on the WrestleMania card that I've got planned, and hopefully that comes out like middle of the year. I'm not too sure yet. We'll see if I can kind of keep a consistent schedule, so we'll see about that. On to figure news now. So in terms of new figures, there hasn't really been much in the way of announcements, just kind of, at least as far as I can see. I will say, though, I did cancel my pre-order for the Elite 93 because I actually needed to buy a new chair because the one I've got at the moment, it's not very comfortable and it's quite noisy when it clicks, so I've had to upgrade. And it will also be good for me editing, so I figured that the money that I'm not spending on Elite 93 I can spend on the chair instead. Unfortunately, though, the exchange rate sucks, so I actually lose money if I want to cancel a pre-order, but it is what it is. I'll save some cash in the long run because, let's be honest, I don't really need a carrying cross right now because it's pretty much the same figure as the one before, just with a dress. So we'll see. I would like to get that Seth Rollins when it comes out, but again, because it's early May when it releases, I'm just going to wait it out a little bit. I did also spend a little bit of cash as well buying some new figures. You saw my Elite 92 haul over the weekend on this channel. I've also bought a AJ Styles WrestleMania figure to try and complete the Vince McMahon Build-A-Figure. I also bought... What did I buy? I rebought the Burnt Fiend and Adam Cole Elite 92 because those were the ones on the pre-order with The Undertaker, which I cancelled. And I also bought a Big John stud because it was on sale, and I thought, I like my 80s figures, so I'll pick that one up. And hopefully we also get news on when the next AEW series is released, because I think I will probably pre-order the Series 9. Hopefully it comes after Payday, but we shall see. But I will get the entirety of Series 9 because it's a solid lineup, man. It looks like you got Christian Cage, Eddie Kingston. I believe Thunder Rosa is in there, Brian Cage. Yeah, just some really good wrestlers in that pack. So that'll definitely be one that I'll be wanting to pick up when they release it. In terms of wrestling news, let's move on to wrestling news now. Big story coming last week when Cody Rhodes neglected to sign a new AEW contract. Very interesting developments with that. And it also came just hours before I was supposed to upload this podcast, which is kind of annoying that it made it out of date. So you have to bear with me because this podcast is recorded on a Monday morning and it's released on Patreon on Monday night, and on Tuesday it's released on the YouTube. So there may be some discrepancies if there's some news that breaks on Tuesday, which I'm not able to cover. So, you know, just keep that in mind when I'm kind of talking about this and having it in mind. So yeah, Cody's gone from AEW. Quite shocking considering how kind of anti-WWE he was and the way he just constantly took shots, for better or for worse. You know, sometimes it could be overkill, but Cody Rhodes, man, I'm just going to say this right out. I'm not the biggest fan of Cody Rhodes, but I will say I think he's fantastic as a wrestler. I think that when he's in the right program, he is fantastic. However, I don't like the Nightmare universe that he's kind of, the Codyverse that he's created for himself in AEW over the past year. Ever since kind of the Brody Lee feud and the Anthony Ogogo stuff, even like before then at Revolution when he was in that ladder match and he was trying to be this conquering hero, it just came across as a bit obnoxious. And I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt because I believed that AEW were knowing what they were doing with Cody and they were kind of doing a subtle, like, he doesn't realize he's a heel. But from recent reports, it looks like he didn't, and that was just what he wanted to do. So, yeah, it's a shame, really, because he had the opportunity to really become one of the biggest stars in AEW this year. But you know what? Grab the bag, man. Like, if he wants more money and he feels like he can improve his opportunities elsewhere, whether that be WWE, whether that be acting, whatever, you know, wishing him the best. Because yeah, it's pretty brave to leave a company where you're kind of set for life and do your own thing. So, but he's done it before and he's been very successful at it. So I don't doubt that he can be successful wherever he goes. I'm 99% certain that if he were to go to WWE, he wouldn't allow himself to go without the knowledge that he would be booked well. So yeah, hopefully if he does go, he's booked like kind of a main event star and not just slotted into a mid-card feud. And as for Brandy Rhodes, again, like, I'm not going to miss her or Cody on AEW TV, but again, like, I think just wishing them the best moving forward. I'm not going to speak on kind of rumor and innuendo about how well liked they were backstage or whatever, because I just don't want to kind of gossip about that kind of stuff. You know, I don't know the guys, so yeah, it is what it is. But wishing the best for Cody. I don't think that this is going to hurt AEW though, to be honest, because they've got so much talent now and they've got so many people to fill that role that anyone who leaves at the moment, it wouldn't really be a big deal unless it was like one of the big names like a Cody though. But I think AEW will be fine, and I think Cody will be fine as well. So yeah, wishing the best. Let's see what he does from here. It's very interesting. Will he sign with WWE though? That is the question. And will he be the Miz's mystery tag team partner? Yeah, before we go into the Elimination Chamber, not really a review because I didn't watch it, but kind of the thoughts on the match results and stuff. Will Cody be the mystery partner of the Miz at WrestleMania against the Mysterios? That is the big question. I don't think so. Just because, like, you got this big star from AEW. Don't put him with the Miz in this mid-card feud. Don't do that. There's also rumours that it's going to be potentially John Morrison, but he's back in AAA at the moment, so can't really see that happening. They've also the strong rumour at the moment is Logan Paul to bring him in for a match, and I don't really know what new fans that is going to bring to the product because I can't see the crossover appeal. They're kind of, I don't know. I don't want to be rude, but the Logan Paul fans seem a bit obnoxious, so maybe I don't know. Maybe they're going to kind of poo-poo wrestling, if you see what I mean. But yeah, I have no interest really in seeing Logan Paul. Obviously, the crossover isn't there for me because I'm a grown man. But I don't know. Maybe he appeals to the younger generation or whatever. But yeah, he's not really my kind of YouTuber really or personality. So, although that said, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, that's something I can 100% get on board with, even if he is a celebrity. Like, seriously, book Johnny Knoxville in the match, it'll be hilarious. And I think that's what WrestleMania really needs to be because they fired so many people. It's not going to be a wrestling masterclass, is it? It's, as long as it's entertaining, I guess, who cares, really? I will talk about the WrestleMania card in a bit, but I will say, first of all, here's my bold prediction for the Miz's tag team partner at WrestleMania, right? It's going to be Veer. You heard it here first. And if this podcast comes out on the Tuesday on YouTube, just know I recorded this before Raw, so maybe he's made an announcement already. But this is just me speculating, so it's fun to look back. But I'm calling it now, Veer Mahan is going to be the Miz's tag team partner at WrestleMania. I am so certain of it, and I've seen no one put this theory forward, but I predict that it's going to be Veer. I think that would be a great idea to bring Veer into the main roster as having him as like the Miz's kind of henchman, his like guru or something, like Hollywood type stuff. I think that would be a good angle for him. But yeah, maybe Veer will just continue to be coming soon to Raw for the next, I don't know, God knows how many months. But yeah, and let's move on to Elimination Chamber and the fact that we now have a WrestleMania main event official, champion versus champion. I don't know if it's title for title yet. It seems like it's only going to be for the Universal title at the moment, but I'm pretty sure they'll make a stipulation where both titles are on the line. So, Brock Lesnar, WWE Champion versus Roman Reigns, Universal Champion. The past two times we've seen it at WrestleMania, it stunk. But this time, I think it's going to change. Because I was there at WrestleMania 34 when they faced off in the main event, and I hated that match. Partly because I'd been in that stadium for like 8 hours at that point. I was just sick of the action at that moment in time. And having Roman versus Lesnar again, pretty ballsy move. But the way it's been built this time, and the character dynamics of both men doing some of the best character work of their careers, in my opinion, colliding at WrestleMania. It's the biggest match they could possibly put on. So, yeah, I'm for it, right? I know people have said it's predictable, but for me, because you didn't do that match at day one, it definitely helped that they're having this match now at WrestleMania, because the anticipation is kind of building. I think it'll be great, okay? I'm putting my hat on the line and saying I think it'll be great. The other matches I think that'll be really good are Flair versus Rousey and Belair versus Banks. They're the best matches that can be put on at WrestleMania, so I think that's, I think that's what they need, is those kind of big matches. And I think if you have Belair win, that'll crown her and make her WrestleMania moment, you know. Rousey, oh geez, I'm really like, I'll tell you what it is. It's me being like commentating over the past 24 hours, just trying to get stuff filmed. So I do apologise. I'll take a sip of water before we continue. But Ronda Rousey isn't, not I'm not that interested in her versus Flair. We've seen it already. But, now that Rousey's like a full-on face, we'll see. We'll see, really, how that match plays out. Other matches that are rumoured, Austin coming back. Oh, man, that would be interesting if it did happen, but I can't see it going longer than 5 minutes if it did. It would be more of a spectacle than a match. So, yeah, I'm not that excited for it, but it'll be fun, I guess, to watch. Because he'll probably come out in the jorts if he does. It's up to Austin, really. I think it'd be a fun moment. Because what was his last match? But then again, his last match was so perfect. It was him versus The Rock. And that was the great way to go out as your final match. So I really don't know. I really don't know how if they're going to get Austin for that show. But if they've got Austin and Cody coming back and Roman versus Lesnar, it looks like a stacked card. But as we've seen with WWE pay-per-views, just because it's got a stacked card doesn't mean that the show's going to be any good. I would say case in point, Elimination Chamber. There did seem to be some people disappointed with it. On paper, it looked all right. Although, again, I didn't watch it because I know I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. Couple of things to note: Roman beating Goldberg in a standard squash. So Goldberg now out of the company, thankfully. The Women's Chamber apparently was okay. I'm glad that Bianca won. Although I just wish that Liv Morgan got more of a showing and Liv Morgan was getting more of a sustained push. Hopefully that comes later in the year and she becomes champion by the end of the year, if not by next WrestleMania. There's also the question of the Elimination Chamber booking and stuff like that. Bobby Lashley actually being injured. Sucks for him to be out for 4 months before Mania, man, because he's really been carrying that company for the better part of a year. So a real shame for him. Hope he gets a speedy recovery. But oh my God, that F5 off the top of the chamber pod to Austin Theory. Damn, that looked brutal. And Brock Lesnar apparently kicking his way out of the pod. Not even a planned spot, just bulldozing the competition. So yeah, again, there's not really much to say. I didn't watch the show, but the results, they were fair enough. I can understand the results for that card. Nothing too controversial on that, other than the fact it's in Saudi. But we'll move on now to match and wrestler of the week. So Dynamite had a bunch of cool matches this week. We had Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. We had Switchblade Jay White versus Trent Beretta on Rampage. But my match of the week is going to be... Right, you're going to have to bear with me. I'll tell you my wrestler of the week first, though. My wrestler of the week is Brock Lesnar, just because, the stuff on Raw that I saw with him and Austin Theory, very funny. I love Brock just not giving a damn about what he's doing. And also that interview with Pat McAfee was quite insightful. I kind of understand, I get where he's coming from with the quote about the talent needing to get themselves over, but it's really difficult in that environment. So, unless you're Brock Lesnar, you don't really have the freedom to do what you want. But Lesnar, to be fair to him, he's knocking it out of the park character-wise, and that improvised spot at the Elimination Chamber, very funny, very brutal, and it made him look like a star. So heading into WrestleMania, it's risen his stock in my opinion. So Brock Lesnar going to be my wrestler of the week. A close second would be CM Punk for that Dynamite promo he cut on MJF, because it really sold me on that match moving into Revolution. And, the Revolution card looking really cool at the moment, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. There are a bunch of matches on this show I enjoyed. Bryan Danielson versus Lee Moriarty. That's it. Bryan Danielson and, continuing his crusade, trying to get a stable going with Moxley. I'm really interested in that story, and his match against Moriarty was great. I loved it. It put Moriarty over as being on the level of Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, and Danielson just showing a vicious side and just showing all the classic signs of ROH Danielson, So putting over Moriarty in a big way, even if Moriarty lost, just to have him in the ring with Bryan, I thought was great, and it really exceeded my expectations. So I'm going to go with Danielson versus Moriarty. For my match of the week, I'd recommend you checking it out if you would like. We've got the closing segments of the podcast here. We've got the NLW updates, the Patreon shouts out, and the question of the week. So first of all, we'll go with NLW updates. What's coming out on the channels this week? So tomorrow, on Wednesday, you'll be seeing NLW 24/7 come back, and that was a show that was written a lot by Cringe God. So it's got some interesting developments on it, and it's something that you won't want to miss, just in terms of like match announcements and stuff like that. I do enjoy making these 24/7 shows, even if they don't do the best like view-wise. That's something that I'm quite passionate about. I have a lot of fun making it, so it's good to see like positive feedback from that. So do check that out tomorrow on the channel. I've cleverly titled it "Man on a Taz Mission" because the Human Suplex Machine, Taz, you're welcome. You've also got coming on Thursday a video on this channel, how to commentate a pick fed. On Saturday there will be a NLW house show highlights from Portland, so that will continue some storylines going on in NLW, and then the week after is going to be NLW's Road to Houston, and the week after that will be NLW 102. Hopefully I can get it out on time. I've also got on Monday, this coming Monday, a special video of an NLW versus Metal confrontation, which should be interesting. It kind of stems from the house show, and I've been enjoying doing these little skits and stuff. If you haven't watched it yet, go and check out Triple H and Stone Cold's debate on the main channel, because I like doing these little stories, and there's also some big announcements hidden into each of these videos, so some Easter eggs if you do watch them. And I've also got in the works another NLW 24/7 show coming very soon. In terms of like the Patreon stuff, like I've uploaded a new NLW 24/7 show, so if you're not already on the Patreon, you can sign up for just $1 and get access to an early NLW 24/7 show featuring a Falls Count Anywhere triple threat match between AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, and Finn Balor. That's a lot of fun. And also Triple H versus Cody Rhodes on that show, funny enough. So if you want to watch that show in its entirety, you can do so like 2 months early, because it's not going to be out until like April. So you can watch it now on the Patreon for just $1. And that seems to be all there is for the updates for NLW. And if you've got any questions, again, like, you just drop me a message or like let me know in the comments below. And we'll go on to the Patreon shouts-outs as well. And I do this every week, but I always want to make sure that I shout out the patrons, because you guys have really helped me keep the channel going over the, I would say it's a tumultuous time when I lost my hard drive and all that stuff. So we'll just get your names up here. I'm almost getting as good that I can name them off by heart, which I'm pretty proud of. So yes, thank you to my Patreon supporters: Clarence Morris III, John, Cringe God, Remy Montoya, Anthony Hill, Brady Babcock, Brandon Furman, Casey Hellschool, Cupid, Devon Dowling, Flynn Lampkin, Cameron Joyner, PTW Animations, Ryan McCarthy, ES Productions, and Outros World. Thank you all for being patrons. If you want to sign up, you can do so in the link in the description. And also, if you are a patron and I didn't say your name in this one, like, honestly, drop me a message. I'll be happy to apologize and put you in to the next one, because sometimes if it doesn't accept the payment on the Patreon, sometimes your name can kind of get lost in the waiting list. So I might not have had time to update it. So yeah, do let me know if I haven't kind of called your name out, because I do want to give all you guys the thank you that you all deserve. So thank you. We'll go on to the last segment, which is question of the week. So if we can go on to my archive here, I should have really screenshotted these questions because there were some good ones here. So I've got my archive of my questions that I put up on Instagram. So I've done a couple of Patreon ones. I will do a couple of the YouTube ones soon as well. So let's get a question up here, and we'll do one from Wrestlistic, someone who is a very good supporter of the channel, has made a bunch of graphics that you see for the channel, including the crowd printouts that you see. So big ups to Wrestlistic. They ask, what do you do when you take short breaks while filming feds or episodes? So like, in terms of like taking breaks when filming feds, like, my thing really is to not get burnt out. So what I used to just bank a lot of episodes in advance and then release them over the coming months. Obviously, with the schedule I've got now, having to go to work, and also the constantly changing nature of NLW, I tend to not do it as much like that anymore, because I do like to keep things updated, and if I want to change something or add a new guy like Evil Uno, I can do so immediately, and it keeps the show fresh. So now what I do take, there are days when I can't be motivated, but I don't let myself, I don't force myself into making episodes when I'm not feeling like it, if that makes sense. If I'm motivated, I'm going to do it. If I'm not, I'm going to take the day to myself, have a break. Or if I'm not filming like matches, I'll take the time to edit the videos that I've already done and just do like other fun side projects like NLW Figs videos, stuff like that. So in terms of how long I animate for, I mean, I hope I can answer this question properly, Wrestlistic, but I animate for like 3 hours at a time. I'll probably take like an hour break for lunch, and sometimes I'll come back to it in the afternoon, but a lot of the time I'm just too tired, so I just won't. But I think 3 hours a day when you're doing it is pretty good going, like for me personally anyway. Means I don't get burnt out on it. And in fact, after I finish this podcast, I'm going to go and film a special NLW 24/7 match, which I'm looking forward to you guys seeing in like 2 weeks. Yeah, when I take a short break, even if it's like for a week or so, I'm always doing something NLW related, whether that's writing an episode, writing a script for a video, or kind of doing like thumbnails, Photoshop, graphics, match graphics, you name it, stuff like that, because that's fun to me. Sometimes setting up the camera and setting up the arena and stuff, that can be a little bit stressful, but it's kind of relaxing sometimes to just have fun playing around with like elements of Photoshop and making match graphics and writing episodes, because that's where I kind of get my creativity and all my little Excel spreadsheets that I've got of the roster and who I've used on what shows. I would like to show that off in a video at some point, so do let me know if that's something you're interested in the comments below. But yeah, that's what I really do when I take a break, Wrestlistic. If I didn't answer the question properly, you can drop me a message if you want like a more full answer, because more than happy to give it to you. And that is the you know what? Because we're on the subject, I'm going to do 2 questions of the week. Yes, I'm doing 2 questions of the week. I'm going to go with the Furminator, Brandon Furman, on Patreon, who asks, do you think Roman Reigns' Brock Lesnar title for title is the right idea? And I'm going to say yes, because I don't think there's anyone on that roster that is on the star level of Lesnar and Reigns. At a push, Lashley, at a push, Rollins, and RK Bro maybe. But to be fair, the 2 biggest stars, I think having them in individual title matches, maybe the results would be too obvious, because you knew Roman would win, and you'd know that Brock would win as well, if you see what I mean. I would have liked to have seen Drew McIntyre challenge Roman at WrestleMania, but it is what it is. I hope he's not facing Corbin at Mania, but I do think it's the right idea, and that might be a hot take, but that's coming from someone who doesn't actually watch the product. But on paper, it seems like the biggest match they can do. So, yeah, Brandon, that is my answer to that. So, yeah, you're lucky. You got 2 questions of the week. There you go. I might even do 2 questions moving forward. But if you do want to ask a question for this podcast, you can do so. Leave it in the comments below, and I'll hopefully get to it in a future podcast. That is it for this NLW podcast today. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, remember, got a bunch of cool videos coming out this week, so make sure you're subscribed to not miss any of the action. Like the video if you enjoyed, comment down below what you thought of the episode, and if you disagreed with anything I said in this podcast, and also subscribe. There you go. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you guys later.